Hey, this is Max, and I am back with another CSR2 video. So, the Fix My Garage series kind of ground to a halt due to unforeseen circumstances. What I decided to do is to start a new series, which is what you saw earlier on the intro, the Veteran Noob's Adventure in CSR. Basically, this is my version of building a new account, documented by video, where I'm going to discuss at each step of the way some of the things you run into that might be important to you when it comes to building and growing in CSR2. What I've done so far, as you can see, I've already cleared the first and second bosses. I'm going to discuss how I did that in a little bit, but I want to show you a little bit about where this account is progress-wise. So the first boss was taken down with a GTI that was purchased, and I used the FRS to take down the second boss. As you can see, I have played this game approximately 18 days at the time of this video, and some of those days I was actually pretty busy and I slacked off. In fact, the second week, I basically only played the map stuff. I didn't do much live racing and didn't push as hard as I should have. Um, at this point, I am back full force with this account and I'm going to be moving forward with it as I make videos. Now, first thing I did is I went to global. Oop, there's no global chat showing, but I went to global and asked around and got myself in a active crew. It's important to note you need to be part of a crew that is actually going to do something each season with the crew cups. Those additional bonuses and additional parts you get from it is going to be very important. Some of the things you may not get a lot of in the beginning are keys. You're going to be missing those. The other thing is when you start off, you're not going to have a large selection of cars. Now, what I'm showing you here is after 18 days, starting a second season, I basically started to pull keys. The whole myth that new players always get good cars, well, I'm not saying I'm debunking that, but let's take a look at what I got. Nothing to write home about. Most of these cars are pretty miserable, to be honest, and pretty useless to me at the present. Now, I put the useful ones in the first garage. The LB RS5 Coupe is a glitch. I don't know why it came with purple stars, but the first garage car I have that's decent is this F12 Berlinetta. This car is at least useful for tier 5, but notice I have no tier 4 cars at all. I tried to pull the LBGTR at the beginning of the season, but I had no luck. Instead, I got Camaro SS and some other cars, one-star cars that are not really that great. Um, you know, so ultimately, my garage right now is just not ready for much. I did get lucky and pulled a Mustang GT Premium and also from a Bronski pull a M235i Coupe. However, the M3 235i Coupe came too late, so I used KJ's to beat Ashley and not the 235i Coupe, which is barely built. So basically, after 18 days and 350, 400, actually about 450 silver keys I've actually spent, earned and spent, I really didn't get too far. I'm still struggling along here. I had hoped to at least have enough cars to move all the way to tier 5 with a plan, but I don't. However, I am about ready to take on the um, boss for the Kurtz car. Now, what I'm showing you right now, what I'm circling are these ladder races. What these will do, it's important to know that if you can beat the ladder race, or you get to the last race at least, your car will be ready to take on the boss in the paints race. This has proven true every tier so far. I suspect it's true for tier 4 and 5 as well. So my Mustang built with very little fusions at stage 5 seems to be ready enough to take on the final boss here, which is Kurtz for her Mustang. Because I beat the latter races, I'm pretty confident I can go ahead and get through without stressing about losing. So here we go back to the map. But before we race Kurtz, what I wanted to show you is the reward from the restriction trial right up here on the right here, right here. So what happened is before I got into, well, I should say when I got into this restriction trial, it was rewarding 15 silver keys. I realized I'm actually very close to beating Kurtz, and I suspect if I beat Kurtz, I would get more um, keys as a reward. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to beat Kurtz now and then go back and look at the reward for the restriction trial and see how many keys it rewards me. And if I'm right, it will reward me more, and therefore it's well worth taking Kurtz down and then getting some extra keys for that trial because you only get 2 of those restriction trials that reward silver keys a season, and I like to get as many as I can out of it. So here you can see it's easy peasy as far as racing Kurtz. Um, because I beat the ladder races, which means my car is well um, tuned, not shouldn't say tuned, well built enough that it can easily take Kurtz out on the Pinks race. I shouldn't have to worry about beating her in the pre races that leads up to the final Pinks race. And as you can see, I am about 7/8 ahead of her car at the moment. That's a plenty large enough margin to feel confident that you'll be able to take her down. She will run a lot quicker in the final race. Okay, let's skip the gas later. She will run a lot quicker in the last Pinks race, and that is something that some players get surprised about. Also, once you start this race, once you finish, it's going to go straight into the Pinks race. You don't get a chance to reset your car, add new fusions, or do anything else like that. Add and upgrade everything before you jump in this final race, before the Pinks race. So the last race in the series against the boss leads you directly into the Pinks. So here, she's not going to run as quick still. You should be able to easily beat her. But when you get to the Pinks race afterwards, she's going to jump ahead by about 5/10. So the car is going to be a lot quicker than what it runs at the moment. If you're not ready, that's where people lose against the boss because they didn't finish the ladder races. The car's really cutting it close anyway. You're running like 10 nines against her 11-0. You barely beat her. Then you go boom into the final race and you lose. Don't do that to yourself. Be patient, beat the ladder races before you take on each boss. Plus, the ladder races pay well, they give you a lot of money. All right, so this is the grand finals that Jerry's talking about, which is only tier 4. We know from experience there's a tier 5 after that, and then there's 3 separate Tempests. You got a long way to go, kid. So don't rush, don't worry, plan a little bit, try to get 2, 3, or 4 decent cars of each tier because you're going to need them. Super Nitrous. If you don't rush, you will never need Super Nitrous. Not for this, not for Tempest, nothing. Super Nitrous is basically a band-aid for people that can't wait but has plenty of money to burn. Right? If you like spending money, be my guest. Spend the money, get Super Nitrous. Your car will be a lot quicker. Therefore, you can take what is essentially not a car that is not ready, pay Natural Motion some money, and boom, you'll get the boss car. Is it really worth it? That's up to you. I don't tell you how to spend your money. You don't tell me how to spend my money. But general consensus among most players is it's kind of a waste. You know, if you really just play and wait, you'll be fine. And defeated Kurtz, I'm going to get her car. So that wasn't that bad. Here comes the Kurtz Mustang, a nice looking car, but very slow, so I'm not taking it for spin. This car does have the benefit of being somewhat useful when you are doing certain restriction trials, so it's still worth keeping around, and Ford Fusions are not that hard to come by. Even as I build Mustang, I'm going to have plenty of extras laying around. So here I'm going to jump back to the VW GTI because I want to go back and take a look at that restriction trial to see if it is in fact going to be different now. This restriction trial is actually pretty tough. It's one without transmission. Transmission being one of the tunable items on a car. Missing any restriction trial, missing trans, nitrous, or tire usually turns out to be somewhat difficult to do. So to give myself an edge, what I'm going to do is I'm going to negative tune this car, which essentially is dropping the tire down to somewhere near 0. Okay, and you can see the time got a lot slower. And this will allow me to run a 14 something on a 15.3 dyno. What that does is it makes it so that these trials are easier because the restriction trials, some of the cups, they're based off of your car's dyno. And those dyno can be tricked by using a negative evo tune where your dyno is different. Hey, look at that, 20 silver keys. It was 15 when I started this trial before beating Kurtz. So by beating Kurtz, I've now moved to 20 silver keys, and that's a good thing. Extra keys never hurt. So these few races, by running the negative tune, you'll see that my car will have a much easier time to race the particular opponents. So here we go. Two, one, boom. Okay. You can see I have a huge lead on the other car on the bot, mainly because my car is supposed to be running a 15.3 and it does instead a 14 flat. So you're about 1.3 seconds. Now your opponent's car is doing exactly what you're supposed to be dynoing because that's how it's set up. It's supposed to get harder as you get closer to the last few races. And even though it's showing orange, obviously the effect is almost as good as if it was blue or green. So that is the advantage of this particular kind of tuning. This is the kind of times that I use negative evo tunes. I don't generally suggest it for live racing, but for the purpose of beating certain trials and just getting through cups easily, I see nothing wrong with doing a negative evo tune to make your life easier. So you can win races a few different ways here. You can win it by simply driving real well. You can win it by tuning, or you can just win it by pure dumb luck, which, hey, some of us got that. But generally speaking, some cars are easier to drive than others. So you want to always give yourself a little bit of edge if you can, because in the end, you don't want to do these trials 15 races 40 times, right? You're just wasting gas and time when you could have gotten through these, got your keys, and moved on to live racing, which is where you need to be. Live racing is the key to success in this game. So I will talk more about that in the future, but you definitely want to get used to live racing. I'm just kind of slowly but surely burning through these. One thing you can know also is that, as far as I can tell, running a negative tune in map races does not impact your live lobby matchmaking. Versus if you ran this particular tune in live racing, you would be bumped very quickly into faster lobbies because your dyno really isn't what you're actually running. The live racing will track what you're running and put you according to what you run, not necessarily always according to what you dyno. It will first put you according to what you're dynoing, but then it'll move you very quickly. Versus map races, even if you're beating the bot cars by like a second and a half, it doesn't matter. It doesn't count towards the matchmaking in live. So keep that in mind. If you're running negative tunes very well here in trials, it doesn't mean that you're going to last very long with this particular setup in live. So you want to be careful there. I will do a separate video on live racing and discuss a little bit of the things in matchmaking, uh, how to use a down-tuned car, how to race effectively with a slight dyno beating car, and what you're likely to face opponent-wise. So that'll come in the future. But as a new player, with a T1 car, you can go in there and do what you gotta do. So there's your 20 silver keys. That adds to our total and moves me closer to another chance at the LBGTR. So that is the ability to beat Dino. Oh, here we go. Let's talk about this real quick. The exclusive offers. You're going to get one in every tier. Every time you beat a tier, this is going to pop up. The thing here is I have plenty of money in gold, and the card they're selling you for real money is a no star. That is disappointing. I mean, the least they could have done is give you a star version of a car. If I was going to get a no star car, I would rather go to the dealership and buy the GTR right here. The 2015 GTR, a very good car in Tier 4, even without stars, can get you through the final boss. Certainly can get you through Tempest 1 as well. I'm not sure about 2 and 3 because ultimately it's a little bit slower than the star version. You want to be patient though. If you don't have to buy it, don't buy it. Don't rush. Do what I'm doing, which is kind of waiting on opportunities. Notice how the game is spamming you for this. So there's some stuff here that you could buy, like gold, coins, offers. Um, you can always check here. None of these really are that worthwhile to get at the present as a beginner. Again, money spent doesn't make you play better. Money spent, what it generally does in any of these app games, this one included, is give you progression. You can get faster progression when you're spending money. And yes, you can get some nice cars, but the point of a nice car is that if you get them, they're good cars. You can live race better. You might be able to build a car faster. All it does is go back to faster progression. So you're going to get spammed with this stuff quite often. But let's talk briefly about the free gold. There are some free gold offers. These go away as soon as you buy your first item in game, whether it's 99 cents or 59.99. Once you buy, this free offer goes away. I don't like most of these free offers. They're kind of a waste of time. But once in a while, when I'm low on gas and I'm desperate for 20 gold, what I can do is I can download a game, the ones that says, the complete action ones are not so good. That's going to take you a while. But to download a game for 27 gold, that I can do. I can download a game real quick, delete it, just log in once, take a look at it, delete it, boom, 27 gold. Not too bad. That'll get you some gas. That'll get you some progress. Gas videos usually work for me, but not for everybody. So here I have 55 silver keys after I got that 20. That's good for one poll, but up to now I have 4 polls that didn't give me what I needed. I am going to try to save up at least 2 or 3 more before I go for more polls. And again, people have systems, they have all kinds of ways that they tell you this is how you're going to poll. Bottom line is, it's a random number generator system with a bias towards lousy cars. So you're going to get some bad cards, you can get some good cards. So far, I haven't gotten that many good ones. I just have to roll with it and deal with it. So here we are at the conclusion of 18 days. We've done pretty well, right? I've gotten through KJ, I've gotten through Ashley, and I just took down Kurtz. Progression is going to slow down a bit from here on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a follow up at the end of this season. I will let you know if I got the LBGTR, and I will let you know where I am progression wise with the game. Well, I hope you liked the video. Certainly leave comments, and if there's things that you want me to discuss in my future videos, please do tell me. Again, please subscribe to the channel so you can get notifications, and thank you for watching.